Welcome into the A-List podcast. I'm Kwani A. Lunis, joined by A. Sherrod Blakely. And yes, I am live in the car if you're watching the video version of this. Sherrod, how have you been?
I'm doing wonderful. This is the drive-by version of the A-List podcast. We are literally on the move. Kwani is in the ride. I'm out on the West Coast. This is that committed A-List podcast. We bring it to you on the move.
Exactly. We stay ready no matter where we are.
Exactly. And speaking of on the move, the NBA is now moving on from the regular season. Now that we got the new champ in the building, the Milwaukee Bucks, with a Game 6 win in the Deer District over the Phoenix Suns. I have mixed feelings about the outcome. I really thought Phoenix was going to win that thing. But Here's the thing. When I look back at all the different characters and storylines that developed throughout the series, the one storyline that's just so ridiculously strong and is undeniable is the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and just what he meant not only to Milwaukee and obviously winning the series, but just what his play meant in the grand scheme of basketball. I mean, what are your thoughts on just what he was able to do? Because I thought he was unreal in this series.
Dropping a 50 piece just to prove a point. I'm with you. I definitely was one of the people that saw the Suns as being the better opponent. And really, I think we all can say a lot of people were rooting for Chris Paul to finally get that chip. But when you look at Giannis, you look at the chip that he has on his shoulder. And even last week when we talked to Miriam Fader, the woman who just wrote a book on him, I hope that becomes a New York Times bestseller. We realized that Giannis does have this chip on his shoulder. People have been doubting him. He's, players, fans, everyone has, not everyone, but it's definitely been a season where he felt it, he heard it, and now he was able to prove the haters wrong. And even in post game where he, a little subtle shots at the people that have joined super teams and said, I did this on my own, not on my own, with my teammates. We stayed in Milwaukee. We were dedicated. Only a few years ago, it was rumored that he was going to leave Milwaukee, but he stayed true to the city. He brought them the championship, and I'm sure that Milwaukee will forever be grateful for him for sticking it out and staying loyal to that city.
Well, the thing that I first of all, Giannis is such a really, really good guy. And even in the fact in that reality, he still has a little bit of low key troll in him. I mean, this is the same dude who this is the same dude that dropped a 50 piece in the championship game and then went to a fast food establishment and ordered a 50 piece.
Yeah.
That's one of the all-time great low key how you like me now moments for an NBA player. But the thing to me that's I think going to get lost as we talk about Giannis going forward is that the conversation is going to change dramatically as we go forward. Because right now, I think the feeling is that, he had a great game, did a lot of amazing things. But I think the further removed we get from this game, the more we're going to appreciate just how impressive he did. I mean, when all is said and done, what he did in Game 6 will go down as one of the greatest individual performances by an NBA player in an NBA Finals game ever. When you start talking about your Mount Rushmore of great plays that guys have made in the playoffs, that will, without question, what he did in Game 6 will be remembered years, decades, centuries from now.
And I made a joke
long after the A-List podcast has gone away, it will still be talked about.
I made a joke yesterday saying that I'm going to just tell my grandkids I was there because of those 8K cameras, because it felt real. It felt like we were there. And for him to pull off such a historical performance, I was so glad that I was able to witness it.
Exactly. And it is, without question, a performance for the ages. And when you think about ages, we got some performers who I think are looking to do some performances of the ages in the Olympics. And I'm thinking about guys like Jason Tatum, who has really, even though we have not officially started the Olympics, you get the sense that this is kind of a passing of the torch Olympic Games where Kevin Durant forever has been, just the best pure scorer. But when you look at the way that players talk about Tatum, you look at the way Popovich talks about Jason Tatum, you get the sense that this is going to be his unofficial coming out party as far as being the biggest, baddest scorer in the game.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Ime Udoka being a successor of Greg Popovich, I'd be very worried about him trying to pluck Tatum up because, as you mentioned, there's so much more growth that we can see from Tatum. And these Olympic Games are going to be very telling. I know the beginning was a little rough, but it's USA basketball. At the end of the day, we lead the world. We have the professional league. And it seems like you said, Tatum is leading this troop when it comes to the respect that he has from everyone else on his team, which is very telling to his talent and his skill set.
Absolutely. And the thing that I love about Tatum is that, he's so damn young. Right. I mean, we talk about his age and his youth and all that, but when you look at the level at which he's playing, the way he has been able to really slowly but surely elevate his play and show the ability to dominate night in and night out, it's kind of scary because you still, as good as Tatum has been, you still get the feeling that this dude has 2 or 3 more levels that he can get to, and that's scary.
His prime. Yep.
No, not even close. And, and you look at a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is just 26 years old. And yet you're talking about a guy, 2-time league MVP, 5-time All-Star, All-NBA, I think 5 times, All-Star 5 times, and Defensive Player of the Year. Giannis's resume is amazing, and he will go down as one of the all-time greats. But when you think about Tatum, who's just 3 or 4 years younger than him, you get the feeling, and this is just me, but I don't think I'm alone. You get the feeling that Tatum, at the minute that Giannis starts to kind of make that shift towards being, on the other side of the come up, Tatum is going to be at the top of his game, and Tatum, I think, is probably going to be the one to take the mantle from Giannis as the best and baddest player in the NBA.
Yeah, I could definitely get behind that.
But I tell you what, before they get that going, there's a few more guys that Tatum is going to have to work his game around and play with. Guys like Devin Booker, guys like Drew Holiday, guys like Chris Middleton, guys who played in the NBA Finals, who are heading out to Tokyo. We'll get into it a little bit later with our guest speaker today, a guy by the name of Duane Rankin, who is no stranger to the A-List podcast.
Yeah.
And Duane, he covers the Phoenix Suns for the Arizona Republic. So, I'm sure he's licking a few wounds right now, like his crew is. But we'll get into a really good conversation about just the Phoenix Suns, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Olympics. And as always, we will play a little fill in the lane. So that being said, always. So let's bring in Duane Rankin right now. How you doing, brother?
Welcome.
It's over.
It's over.
Sherrod knows what the feeling is when the
series 3-2-1.
Nah, when the series is over and the finals is over and it's over. So it's over.
Well, I mean, first of all, Duane Rankin, the Arizona Republic. Hey, Duane, I'm just glad you're here, brother. I'm glad you're here. I wish you were here under different circumstances. I wish we were here to talk about Game 7 and how y'all about to handle y'all business back in the Valley, but we not.
Right.
We talk about life after the season is over. I mean, Duane, again, I've known you for a long, long time, and I know this is your first run with a team all the way to the finals.
Right. I mean,
how you doing?
I mean, you know what's crazy about this is that one of the first times that Sherrod and I met was when the Cavs were in the finals in 2007.
Yeah.
And we were actually going to get the bags. Remember they had them roller bags?
See?
2007 roller bags, and we was hustling to go get our bags.
and Duane, you know what? It's a different era, different day, but you know what? We still hustling to get our bags. Different bags now, but we still hustling to get them bags.
Yeah. It was kind of symbolic.
It was.
You think about it now, but that's one of the first times that Sherrod and actually talked. We were like, yo, man, where we get our stuff at? And so he was trying to figure it out. We found it. So we were like, yo, here we go. Yeah, I like this. So, I mean, it's a nice bag. Like, you could put your laptop. You could put all kinds of stuff in there. So,
okay.
Yeah, those were nice. 2007. It was over quick, though. That was a sweet. I was doing Cavs stuff, like, periodically during that season. Like, I do, like, 3 or 4 games early, 4 or 5 in the middle. Then the end, I did the whole playoff run. But not like this, where you're with them from day one to it's over. So yeah, it's definitely different. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Obviously the Suns, they had a great year this year. Very few people thought they would be this much better. We thought y'all would be better, but few didn't believe they could get this far. And the way that they've gone about building, the way that this team has found success unexpectedly, it's given a lot of other teams looking ahead to 2022 hope that, hey, maybe we can do what the Suns did,
right?
Including a team like the Celtics. And we talk a lot about CP3 and just his impact, obviously, but there were some other factors that went into this amazing season. I wanted you to just talk about some of those other things that you saw help this team kind of shock the world and get to the finals when so many felt that they couldn't.
Well, one, DeAndre Ayton accepting the role that he was given. This guy came in, his second year, he was talking about, I'm going to shoot threes and I'm going to dribble and I'm
pump the brakes, young fella.
Right. I'm doing all this stuff. I got my jumper, the whole bit. And then Chris Paul showed up and Monty Williams was like, nah, you're going to set the screen right here. And you're going to dive to the basket. And then the defense will collapse. And then Chris will maybe he'll find guys open for threes. If they don't collapse, he'll find you for a lob. So Ayton accepted that role of just being a lob guy finisher who can defend and rebound and run the floor. And that opened up everything because he accepted it and then you started winning with it. Then he embraced it. First, it was like, all right, I'm going to do this. Chris Paul's 16-year vet. I got to respect that. He's been there. I haven't. So let's go ahead and roll with this. But then once they started winning, he saw the impact he could have. That's when he really bought in. And once he bought in, that was it. The rest of the guys are like, okay, well, DeAndre, because he can be kind of hard-headed at times. And once he accepted it, the rest of it was history. I'm talking rookie year, Sherrod. When he first showed up, he had that,
he was feeling himself.
He had, after one game, I remember he said it's time to take over. They were in a long losing skid. He was talking about it's time to take over, and I was like,
"Too."
Wow. Okay. Well, I got him on record, so we ran with it. It went straight nuts online. So, but once he accepted that role, that helped out. Then bringing in Jay Crowder, he helped a lot because of leadership and his ability to, he can knock down shots. He's streaky, but when he's on, he's on. And he helps him on the glass a little bit, and just the leadership part, getting guys to understand how to play. And Devin got better. He got better this year. And Mikal, he got better. Cam Johnson got better. Campaign had moments. He was
Campaign with the champagne moment every night. My man.
He was taking bits and pieces from Chris Paul all year long. Oh yeah, I see how he did that. I'm gonna do that. I see how he did that. I'm gonna do that. But then Chris Paul was like, "Be you, don't be yourself." And because when Cam came in, the pace they went like this because Chris was just half court, bring it up. Payne came in, it was off to the races. That's part of his game, that herky jerky, getting the paint, and he started to find people later. But just that overall, and then the connection I thought Chris and Monty had was huge. They're just like, Monty's like, I got regrets because I didn't do what I was supposed to do as a coach when I had him in New Orleans. And Chris is like, oh, we got another shot at this. Willie Green, that's his dude. So it was like a reunited type deal. And they just rolled with it. And it was like Chris and Monty worked so well together. Monty's like, Chris already know what play I'm going to call. He already in it. I don't even have to call it. And then sometimes he's like, well, go run it. And just go, just do it. And then he said sometimes Chris will give him a look and he's like, all right, he need me to call a play now. So he'll call a play. But the chemistry was crazy between those two. It was like, Monty described it as a partnership, not coach-player. That just tells you where that was with those two. And that I thought that was just as big as anything.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of...
Go ahead, Kwani.
You're good.
Go.
Oh, well, I was listening. I don't know why I was listening. I always do, but listening to Boston local radio, and they were talking about the fact that, Monty went into the locker room after the game and congratulated the Bucks, which it was really the conversation of old school basketball versus new school. I was just curious about your perspective of the way rivalries are now, where you would never dare to go to another team, or you would never dare to even give congratulations to the opposing team. What's your perspective on the fact that he was gracious enough to go in there and give them some kudos?
You know, the irony of this is that I was just watching the 30 for 30 Lakers Celtics.
Yep, exactly.
Mikal and Parrish went in the Lakers locker room after the game. Yeah. You know, so it's like, it's a respect thing. Of course, they had a real rivalry. That was like, for Mikal and Parrish to go in their locker room, that was huge. You know, because it's like, you know,
in that era.
Yeah, I mean, back then it wasn't no friendships going on. I mean, I can even remember even before that, just seeing old tapes. Pat Riley went in the Sixers locker room. The Sixers won it in '83. He congratulated. He wouldn't congratulate Doc because Doc hadn't won a championship just yet. Hadn't won a championship yet, but that was old school stuff too. So, I mean, it's not a rivalry between the Bucks and the Suns. I mean, they've had some really close games, but you know, I guess the equivalent here would be, say, Boston, Miami. And back in that time, that Paul Pierce went into the Heat locker room and said, "Yo, congrats." That's just not happening. I mean,
no,
you know, Paul's not going in there. KG's not going in there. You know, that might be the last heated rivalry. Like Cavs, Warriors, I didn't think that was a heated. I mean, they played again in the finals 3 times. I mean, so it felt like 3 to 4. Was it 4 times? They played 4 times. But it didn't. I mean, it just felt like 2 great teams. Heat, Celtics. That was, we don't like you, we hate you. So that might be the last rivalry I can even recall. So no, I thought Monty was just being Monty. You know, that's just what he does. The fact that he said that they helped him become a better coach, I thought that was bigger than anything. Like wow, you just led a team to the finals, you know, and like, you know, you finished second in the coaches, you know, for coach of the year. You won the coaches coach of the year. You can coach. I just think Mike took it so hard because he felt like he could have did more. This is a guy that's kicking himself saying he should have played Frank Kaminsky. You don't have to do that.
No, you don't. Don't do that. Don't do that. Right. Not necessary.
Right. That's not necessary. You know, I mean, Frank is a solid player, but you could have played him all the games and the result would have been the same.
I can tell you right now, Celtics fans love Frank Kaminsky. And I'm going to tell you why they love Frank Kaminsky. Because at one point, Danny Ainge was willing to trade the farm and the eggs and the chickens and the cattle to move up in the draft where the Charlotte Hornets were picking. And Michael Jordan said, "Nah, we don't want all that because we want Frank Kaminsky." And so Frank Kaminsky doesn't realize it, but he was a significant reason why the Celtics went to conference finals 3 of the last 5 years. Because if they would have given all them assets to move up to the number 8 spot to take Justice Winslow, because that's the guy that he was eyeballing, Justice Winslow, my goodness. This franchise would be in a very different state. So Frank Kaminsky, shout out to Frank Kaminsky. Shout out to Frank Kaminsky for being Frank Kaminsky. But listen, back to what we were talking about earlier. I'm not going to lie. I probably would have had a little bit of Pat Beverly pettiness in me at the end of that game because, again, it was a great game and Giannis was amazing. But damn. And I remember that's exactly what Devin Booker said at the end of the game. They panned the camera on him after the game, and he was just like, damn. And that's how I'm feeling. I would, whatever level of pettiness that I have in me, and we all got some. Don't act like you don't.
No
you
question,
do.
no question. I have
that
plenty.
Pettiness would have spilled over and then some at the end of that game when I realized we ain't winning this chip. I would have absolutely done something foolish and ignorant and dumb. And I would have put it all on pettiness, and I would have done like Patrick Beverly and crawl on back and say, "My bad."
Right.
But I would not have regretted doing what I did.
Of course.
It was such a great series, but damn, I can't help but feel as though Phoenix is kicking themselves and over and over again about, damn, we should have had this.
Right.
We should have won this thing. We should have absolutely, at a minimum, been back at the crib getting ready for Game 7.
Right. It's crazy, though. You know what's crazy about that is that, you know, people here panic and, you know, they were they knew Scott Foster was getting ready to come back around.
Yeah.
You know, they knew it. You know, it wasn't like he was going anywhere. You knew he was going to do 2 games because the pool is so small. You knew he was going to do 2 games. So I was doing doing a radio thing, and I was like, if the Suns are really buying into this is when they were up 2-1. If they really buying into this, they need to get rid of Phoenix and they need to get rid of Milwaukee in 5 games. And then they were in game 4 and they were up 6 with under 9 to go and lost. And then in game 5, they're up 16 to start the game. And they let the Bucks score 79 points combined in the second and third quarter on 71% shooting and lost on a turnover going the other way, lob dunk for Giannis.
Yeah, they made Drew Holiday look like a combination of Dennis Johnson, Gary Payton, any elite defender 6'5" and under. Drew Holiday was like all of them embodied in like the last couple of games. And no disrespect to Drew because he's a hell of a player. One of my favorite two-way players. But damn, they made him look like he was the best thing since ever. I mean, the best. I ain't gonna say sliced bread because sliced bread ain't all that. I mean,
you need some stuff on the bread for it to be all that.
See, that's why Duane, my dude, you feeling me? Bread, I cannot live by bread alone. There was a time when you could live by bread alone, but that time is past, and I ain't part of that time. Kwani's like, no, we ain't going to church on this middle of the week. Kwani did not expect us to go to church.
But you are right, though. You on the money. You are so on the money with that. I mean, that's where we are. I mean, bread's not enough. You need other stuff to help make the bread feel better. When however you're using it, you need other.
Let's get back to basketball.
Other items to make that bread really feel like it's being worth earning. Yeah. He's right. I can't argue. But I will say, just when you were just talking about the whole pettiness part, it's in him to be that. I mean, we saw Crowder.
I know.
We saw Crowder doing the salsa dance, so it was. I
love Jay.
Had they won the finals, they would have showed out.
They would have been ignorant about it.
They would have showed out.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the videos I saw of Jay after they got to the NBA finals. You know, grabbing beers and he would have acted a fool. And you know what? I absolutely endorse that foolishness. That is foolishness I will endorse. I will absolutely co-sign on that without hesitation.
Jay would have acted up. He was even said if they win the finals, he was going to do the salsa dance at the victory parade. He already said he was going to do it.
See,
that's why
I'm mad. I'm even more upset that they didn't win now. I'm even more upset.
Right.
I am even more upset.
Showed out. He had it all planned out.
Yeah, the shoes, the outfit, everything.
Jay was ready to do it. Because
like first day of school when you're in the 3rd grade. We're out. Mama done ironed that shirt. That shirt is fresh to death.
He's outcast. So fresh, so clean.
Then the shoes that Mama bought like a month ago that you had in that box.
You can't wear them until the first day of school.
Exactly.
Why are you even looking at the box? You ain't going to be able to put those on right now.
You know that. I am all for that.
I don't understand.
Hey. My mom was all for that. Locker. She was at Foot Locker with the shoes outside on the table. Going through, is this your size?
Right.
Like, no, I wear 11, not a 9. You know, we got to dig deeper. We got to dig deeper in this pile of shoes.
Right.
But if they only got a 12 and I wear 11, you know, we do got tissue.
Oh, yeah, we socking it up.
We do got tissue. We can sock it up.
We tissue and we socking up, and we thinking you're going to grow 2 more inches in the next year or so to really fill them out.
See, Duane, this is what I'm talking about. This is the A-List podcast intel you just can't get nowhere else. This is where you get the realish. What you got, Kwani?
Well, when we talk about this Suns team, they're pretty young when you look at their core. What are some factors from how they performed in the finals that you think a team like the Celtics should look at when it comes to getting to that stage?
As young as they are, they still needed that vets. They still needed those vets. That's why the Chris Paul deal what he going to do, take up the option or just the free agency market. I mean, Chris talking about that, we'll figure it out is what he said.
Yeah.
When I asked him, but what's figuring it out? Figuring it out mean you opting in. It's figuring it out mean y'all negotiating a longer deal.
Mm-hmm.
Figuring it out mean I'm gonna see what's out there. Figuring it out mean calling LeBron. I mean, what is figuring out? So when I look at that, to me, that's top priority. But to just address your question with the younger players, I think they learned that there's another level that they got to get to. Mikal, he learned, hey, look, I need to get in that weight room and really, really, really get after it, because there are guys, Sherrod, that are thin guys, but they strong with it, and he's just not there yet in terms of the physicality. Cam Johnson's another one. He's 6'8". He's put on a little bulk, but you can see him getting dominated on the glass when they played Milwaukee. It was like they went small, and the Bucks said, okay, we're going to go Lopez, Bobby Portis, and Giannis and see if you can deal with that. And he couldn't. So, it's because Cam Johnson wasn't able to be that physical guy to keep guys off the glass. So the younger players learned that, they just got to get better. They got to get more physical. I think DeAndre knows there's another level he got to get to. He got a shot blocked by Jrue Holiday. You're talking about Jrue Holiday being made to be that player. Not supposed to be blocking the guy's shot that's 6'11".
That was embarrassing.
Right. That's just not supposed to happen. So that's got to be, you get dunked on and the foul. That's what's got to happen for him. I think sometimes he thinks that means being angry on the court. No, that means just imposing your force on a guy. And, I would love to see him just try to punch one, even if he would have missed it, even if he would have got it blocked. I would just love to see him just go up on Giannis and just try to, hammer one. But then when Giannis blocked his lob dunk in game 4, then it's like, does he have it in him to kind of respond to that? I think that's what Aiden needs to realize, that, yeah, you got me in game 4, but I'm going to get you in this next game. I'm going to get you back. And I think he sort of not digressed, but he didn't have that same edge that he had earlier in the playoffs, because the guy in front of him now has got him on skates like, he got me moving this way and he's going that way. He's got me going that way and he's going underneath me. I think I'm in front of him. He's doing Dirk. Like Giannis was pulling out all stops. He's going reverse spin, jumpers. I mean, it was like, damn, Giannis is pulling out. He's in his bag right now. It's like he's just pulling out crazy shots. But Ayton did not. You saw where a guy like Giannis been in the league for a minute and has figured it out, and Ayton hasn't been in the league long enough to know what that is. That competitive back and forth where, okay, you got me. A couple plays later, I'm gonna get you. So the younger guys are learning how, there's another level they got to be at. Like even Devin, Chris Middleton. You know how it is, Sherrod, in the press conferences where they're asking the one guy about the other guy all the time. They're asking Chris Middleton about Devin. What do you think about Devin as a player? Devin, he can really score the ball. Chris Middleton, like, yo, hey. He's like, yo, man, we got this. And so I'm not backing down from Devin Booker. I'm just as good as Devin Booker. And that's what you saw. You saw a lot of that, of the Bucks guys like, why are you talking about him? I'm the guy in this series. And they took it personal. And sometimes, the Suns, they learned that in this series. You got to take things personal.
Hey, this is comedian J.L. Covan, best known for his impression of Donald Trump. I'm going to be at City Winery in Boston for one night only, July 26th at 8 p.m. Hope to see you there.
Hey, Duane, we've talked a little bit, but not a whole lot about Chris Paul. Right. He had a great season, great finals run, was top 5 MVP candidate, but there's some lingering questions about his future. Not so much about what he can do, but where is he going to do it? there's even some speculation already, and you know how speculation is. There's a difference between like trade rumors and speculation. Speculation is just talk out there, but there's some talk out there where he may, try to join forces with LeBron in LA. Which again, I'm not sure exactly how the heck that's going to work or how that would work. But
cap space for
the fact that. Yeah, but what do you think about CP3's future? Is he going to re-up with the Suns, or is he going to take his talents elsewhere? Which, again, everywhere he's gone, that team's gotten better.
He's gotten used to being on a different team every year. He was with Houston, then OKC, now Phoenix. So I wouldn't be shocked if he decided to take his talents elsewhere. Arsenio was trying to get LeBron to, tamper, and LeBron was just laughing, and he was.
Listen, LeBron got a movie to promote. He ain't trying to mess with his bread.
Right. So Arsenio was trying. He was trying to work it. I have to give Arsenio props. He almost went vanilla ice right there in the grilling, but I had to give him his props. But as far as Chris, I think he got leverage and the Suns got leverage. His leverage is y'all wouldn't be here in the finals if it wasn't for me. So
that's real.
Hey, help me out. Hey, look, this is it. Let's talk money and let's get this multi-year deal. There's a number out there. Now, I'm not saying that you got to pay me to that number, but you got to get close to that number.
There's always a number that will always get the deal done.
Right.
There's always that one number, and that's just real facts. I know that for a fact. There's a number that will get a deal done.
Tell us more, Sherrod.
They're talking about like $100 million. I just don't see $100 million 3 years, but I see something close. If they can get close to that. But on the flip side, the Suns can say, "Well, you never made it to a finals until you got here." And they can be like, we got to pay DeAndre. His rookie extension is coming. We got to pay Mikal. His rookie extension is coming. Now they probably can pay Mikal less, but DeAndre gonna want that max. So he'll probably get it. So if you're like, you're James Jones, you're like, look, man, we want you back, that, but how we gonna pay you and them? And we still got Devin on the books, and we got Cam Johnson coming in a couple years. Listen, man, you got to help us out. We have
discount.
It's like, Chris, that Brinks truck has been to your crib like 3 times, bro.
Mm-hmm. Right.
3 times.
Right. So look, man, you got you got to help us out here, man. Like we can't. Like they're willing to go luxury tax, but they don't want to. If you go luxury tax, you thinking like the Warriors. You're like, we trying to win championships like next year. Like you go luxury tax and you don't get it, and you had a 36-year-old point guard that's now 38.
That's a bad look.
Oh, that's a bad look.
And I ain't just talking about the look of your roster. I'm talking about your financial books. That's a bad look. You're going to be looking like, damn, we did what?
Right. Why? Who signed up for this?
You got to win a title if you're willing to pay Chris Paul and pay these other players. That's why in the draft, when they didn't draft Halliburton. See, if you had Halliburton right now, you could be like, yo, Halliburton could have learned from Chris this year. And then next year you could have been like,
bye.
I don't know what you're going to do, but
thanks for your service. Thanks for your service. Much appreciated. Come with me, young fella.
Ready, and that's what could have happened.
Right.
But they drafted Jalen Smith, and we'll see. He could be, but right now he isn't. And we know Halliburton is. Mm-hmm. So they could have went that route. So now it's like, if you're Monty Williams and you're asking Monty, what do you think? Well, you already know what Monty want.
Right.
Monty pay that man. Yeah, Monty trying to win.
Because Chris Paul is like, I don't want to call it security blanket, but he already know what Chris Paul gonna do. You bring a new point guard in, it's like, I gotta learn this guy. He had to learn Rubio. Rubio obviously got traded. He knew Chris.
There you go.
His success has been with Chris, if you really want to get honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then if Chris go and then you bring in somebody, you could bring in somebody that's talented. I was saying the other day, like you could get somebody average 16 as a point guard. You can find that guy. You can find somebody maybe average 7 assists, not 8.9, maybe 7, 6.5. But you can't find a leadership. You can't find a demanding guy. You can't find a guy that's telling DeAndre, get your act together. And DeAndre says, yes, sir, and does it. You can't find the guy that's playing off Devin that Devin fully respects. You can't find the guy that Mikal and Cam, eating off of, Crowder's eating off of. You can't find that detail-oriented guy that's holding guys accountable in the locker room and in the film sessions.
You know what, Duane? Here's the thing about Chris Paul is the James Evans of the NBA. Right. He's that daddy figure that makes sure everyone's taken care of, but if you step out of line, he will check you on the spot. And when he checks you, you are not pushing back. You'll be like, yes, sir. Right. No, sir. Sorry, sir. My bad, sir. I didn't mean to do that, sir. I will not do that again, sir, because he gets that type of respect. That's James Evans, Good Times. For those who don't know about Good Times, Google that bad boy. See a clip of James Evans. That's who Chris Paul is to the NBA. He's that type of dude. But Duane, you touched on something I wanted to kind of get your take on, and then we'll start playing a few games because we like to play games on the show.
Always.
When we talk about the Suns, we talk about where they fit into not just their roster, but just in the whole Western Conference. Where do you see them stacking up going forward? Because the Warriors are going to be better. We know that. The Lakers are going to bounce back in some way, shape, or form. And then you got cats like Denver. There's a host of teams. Utah, another one, that are going to be in the mix. How do you see the Suns, if they keep this core group together, which includes bringing CP3 back, how do you see them fitting into that Western Conference matrix?
It just seems like all the other teams are still going to be mixed, still be figuring it out. Like Jamal Murray will be back. Right. So Davis will be back. But it's still like they lost time, fitting the pieces, So it seems like all these other teams are still going to be fitting guys and, getting guys. And where the Suns is going to just, if they keep the core, keep right on rolling with the same stuff, just improving that, enhancing that, getting better at that, tweaking that. So I still see them being, one of the top 4 teams. It's just, I did the same thing last year. I kept looking at what everyone else had instead of looking at what the Suns had. I kept saying, wow, Dallas, yeah. Luka, okay. Denver, yeah. Jokic, Murray, okay. Utah, Donovan, okay. Lakers, yeah. LeBron, AD, Clippers, yeah. But I wasn't really focusing on the team and what the Suns had to offer. So now seeing a season go through, I say they're still a top 4 team in the West. The problem, again, is they have to – the other teams that they beat are sitting around saying to themselves, if we didn't have injuries, we would have got you. And so that gives them confidence, but maybe that puts that chip back on the Suns' shoulder again and say, look, see, okay, y'all thought that we didn't beat y'all because y'all were hurt. All right, now we about to show you again what we are and what we're about, and you're going to have to deal with it. So they'll be right there to me in that top 4, but and if the Lakers are healthy, it just that's what's crazy because after the first round, Lakers coach, Vogel was like, this should have been the Western Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. He's like, if we would have been healthy, then we would have met in the Western Conference Finals. He said, this what this should have been. And if you really think about it, the hardest series they had until they played Milwaukee was the Lakers. Yeah. Until AD got hurt. And then that's when the wheels fell off. Mm-hmm. And LeBron was on the bench like, yo, it's time to start promoting Space Jam because
he was like, I'm out. I'm
out. I'm tired.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, Space Jam. Here we go.
Right. He was like, I would carry the team on my back. Caruso's on this shoulder.
I'd rather carry the
shoulder. KCP is on this shoulder. Come on, man. I need a break. For real.
Let me get Bugs. Let me get Daffy. I can carry them. I can carry them.
Yeah, it's just, and even Portland, it's like, we don't know, we know Lillard, his deal, but it's like, that's another one. So the West is so stacked, but the Suns still have the advantage with the core. staying together. They're still the only team that you look at and go, they went through a whole season together, and they can only get better. Like, I don't see them digressing. You know, if Chris Paul is back, you figure Devin will be better, DeAndre, all those guys will be better because then they'll know, like DeAndre talks about details. He just learned true details this year. Like, he didn't really understand what that meant.
He that kid with the new word that he learned on the second day. He used that word every chance. I want to talk about details. You're like, details? You know about details? Oh, that's right. That's that new word. Yeah, I got you. Right. DeAndre Details Ayton.
Right, oh, exactly. My God.
He didn't know what that really was.
Right,
like,
until this year.
Until this year, when him and Chris Paul are sitting one-on-one in a film session and Chris going, see that?
Detail.
See that?
That's a detail.
Okay. You know, set the screen this way, this will happen. Set the screen that way, this will happen. You know, roll this way, this will happen. Roll that way, this will happen.
Andre was like, oh. He became that guy. He's that guy in that one.
That's it. So all those
details.
The details. This dude right here, man.
If you're listening, you need to watch the video version of this podcast because Sherrod has.
Oh my God, this dude is so crazy. But he's right though. DeAndre. That's what happened. He learned details.
Mm-hmm.
And so you figure next year, you figure if they all stay together next year, Chris Paul won't have to go through all that.
Yeah,
it'll be boom, 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 make it happen.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
They'll be just adding on. Like Monty's always said, you know, he's got so much stuff in the playbook, but he tries to simplify, you know, for everybody. Mm-hmm. He's got a whole nother storage chamber of stuff.
Yeah,
he wants to pull out. And if you get another year with Chris Paul, then you can go to some of the stuff that, you know, like when they ran that live for DeAndre, Giannis said he saw it coming. Maybe next year it's the same set, but some totally different is happening. You know what I mean? And so, you know, not even admitted, like we probably ran that play one too many times. Mm-hmm. So, you know, so next year they may run it. It may look the same coming out of the timeout, but there may be all kind of other actions going. And Chris, you know, Devin he's smart here, and the other guys are too. But and not to Aiden that he is, but he just learned details this year.
We talking about details.
Speaking
of details, not a game. Exactly. Hey, Kwani, speaking of details and games, we got some games to play.
Yes.
I like this first one.
Yes. I know this is a good one. So you're filling in the blank. I'm going to give you some options. You let me know what your answers are. We have a middle aisle and window seat. And you also have Chris Middleton, Devin Booker, and Drew Holiday. Who sits where on that trip to Tokyo?
Okay, middle aisle and window.
Mm-hmm.
Who sits where?
Yeah.
Okay. Devin's sitting in the aisle because he can get out.
So you get up and go to your bathroom.
He's in the aisle, so he can get out.
Okay.
So then I'm putting probably Drew in the middle of that.
Okay.
Because Drew seems like he could be a peacemaker.
Okay.
And then I'm putting Chris on the window because you know Chris. Yeah, he don't really want to talk to Devin anyway.
Oh,
so,
right.
You got to keep him.
Chris can look out the window. He can see clouds. He can see mountains. He can see all that stuff. And
be peaceful.
Drew can be in the middle doing what he does, and Devin wants to get up, go to the bathroom, or say, I don't want to sit around these two because they got me in the finals, and he can just get up.
He got control to go where he wants.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. That's how
I would have put Devin on that aisle seat too, just because. First, I would say, Devin, where you want to sit? I mean, we done had you for like the last 6 games. I'm gonna let you pick where you want to sit. So he's probably gonna pick that aisle seat. I get that. I would probably put Middleton in the middle, only because Drew has been all up on Devin this entire series. I think Devin wants some space.
Okay.
Give him some space. And so Chris will be more than happy to give him some space. And Drew can look out the window and think like, damn, Now he knows I'm nice. He know he don't want me next to him. Let Chris handle my light work. Chris, sit next to Devin. I don't need to sit next to Devin. Devin has seen enough of me.
Right.
I'm thinking about I'm looking out the window, thinking about my ring. I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about how I'm like the most underrated all-star in the game. People treat me like I'm just a throw-in. People making fun of me, calling me like, Drew, calling me Bledsoe,
Yep,
Light or Bledsoe, the remix. I'm better than some Eric Bledsoe. And then I'm looking out the window thinking about all this, and then I look over there and I see Devin on the aisle. And probably when I look at Devin, he's probably getting up to go to the bathroom because he knows I'm looking at him. And
he ready.
He can feel my presence. I've been around him so much he can feel my presence. I don't even need to be near him. I just look at him. And he's moving. So
I hear that. The only thing I'll even rebuttal to that is that if you looked at the end of Game 6, every time Chris Middleton hit a jumper, Devin was in trail position trying to defend it, and it was bottoms. And I was just like, he don't like that view either.
So, maybe Devin asking for to find another seat. Like, I'll go back 5 rows if you could just take some. Just give me an aisle seat in the back.
Right. Now, either way, either way works, no doubt.
Which else you got, Kwani?
All right. Great. Second one is if blank had happened, the outcome of this series would have been different.
Hey, Giannis not recovered from that knee injury like he did.
Mm-hmm.
It's real talk.
Because I'm not even going. After Game 1, I was like, I'm seeing something, but I'm not seeing something. And then Game 2, it was like, oh, I'm seeing something. And it's not good for Phoenix. Like, it just, he was so hesitant in Game 1 at times, and you could see him laboring a little bit. But once he realized he was straight and that knee wasn't going to be an issue, it was on. I mean, it just at that had he been like maybe 70, 75%, son's sweep, in my opinion.
Okay.
But because he was ready by Game 2.
Yeah.
I mean, and I give Budenholzer credit. He was vague and all that the whole time. Like, well, we don't know. We don't know. He could be, was just day to day. I don't want to give details. I don't want to give updates. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, he must be really a problem with. We don't know what Giannis could have been running full. You know what I mean? He could have been all kinds of stuff. We have no clue.
Yep.
So I think that they knew. I think he was much further along than what they let on to be, because he had to be. I mean, unless he's just like this genetic freak that. I mean, we saw the injury. That's not supposed to happen. He's not supposed to have that injury and then get back to 40-point games and then go for 50 in the final. That's just not supposed to happen when you have that kind of injury. The way it looked. These rubber bands, that was incredible. But if he don't come back 100%, it's over. It's sweet. It's over.
What else you got, Kwani?
Blank didn't clearly get enough credit for their performance in this NBA Finals.
Wow. I would say Drew Holiday, but we've been on the Drew Holiday kick. I think Drew Holiday was the X factor in the series, but I'm gonna go another direction. I'm gonna go 2 people: Pat Connaughton.
I knew it.
And Bobby Portis. Like, come on, man.
Talking about Bobby Portis.
Bobby Portis had the crowd on fire. Like,
he did. Oh yeah.
I'm sitting.
You know why?
This dude,
he's tearing
people up.
He
needs to stop.
I'm kicking you off the podcast.
He needs to stop. Bobby Portis
in your eyes. That got you a plus minus of at least 3 points a game with the eyes alone. He's going to help you at least 3-point bump. Either they're going to miss out on 3 points or he's going to get 3 points by simply giving you the eyes.
Hey, Hey,
I love that. I love that dude.
Portis was hitting. I can't even look at him. Portis was hitting threes. Portis was hitting threes. It was insane what he was doing. Like, it was just, and then Pat Connaughton.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Pat Connaughton from Arlington, Mass.
The hustle plays. I mean, he's knocked down shots, but the hustle plays, getting in there, getting rebounds, him guarding guys. Chris Paul got the best of him probably as the series went on. But there was a stretch there where he played pretty good defense on Chris Paul. And so him just being an active guy, like I said, getting extra possessions, those two guys, they had no bench. Budenholzer decided just to play 8 guys. And the only 2 that he played consistently off the bench was Portis and Connaughton. And they came through multiple times. I think Portis had 16 in game 6. I mean, that's just like 10. I mean, he came in, it was like, boom, 10 points in the first. I mean, you're like, what? But he was able to, like, guard the 3-man for the Suns. Those 2 would be my picks.
Yeah. Wow. Duane Rankin, Arizona Republic. My man. Way to give my boy Mr. Connaughton a shout out and Bobby Portis.
Oh my God.
You talking about Bobby Portis? But hey, listen, this man, great season, great coverage for you, man. I'm happy you had a chance to go through this marathon. And I know that you and your body need some sleep, some rest, because it's a long season. Haven't been through a few of these in my day. Enjoy your time, your downtime, but understand that the grind ain't over. As you know, it'll be starting up again, Summer League next month in August. I'll be out there for a little bit as well. Hope to see you out there as well.
I want to go. Can the A-List sponsor me?
Ooh. I don't know, Kwani.
We should do a live one at Summer League.
Kwani, we got to get Duane some sleep now. You stop coming up with these brainstorming ideas. We're having a brainstorm. Let's have a brainstorming session that Duane don't got to be looped into. I'm trying to get this man some rest. She's talking about, hey, why don't we talk about that? Come on, Kwani. Let the man go. Come on, Kwani.
I'm sorry.
I got to go Bobby Portis on you?
It's all good.
Do I got to go Bobby Portis on you?
No, you don't. No, you don't. No. No, please,
I'm
no.
not ready for that, please.
I'm not going to be able to sleep because that's going to be in my head.
Hey, if Bobby don't sleep, you don't sleep.
The only thing is close to that or worse than that is Forrest Whitaker. Everything else. That Bobby Portis, I got to, listen, I have an image now of Bobby Portis I cannot shake now. Because I saw that look. I just wasn't thinking it was like that, but he's got it down. Like 100%.
It's all like that. When he worked out for the Celtics years ago and we were sitting down and we're talking to him, those eyes never like fluctuated. The high beams were on from day one. I'm thinking like, damn, I like this dude.
High beam?
Because this dude is going to help us win games. He's a good player and he's got this look of intimidation that you can't ignore. Right. I mean, he's coming at you every play. I love that. I'm a huge Bobby Portis fan, so don't get it twisted, people. I love Bobby Portis.
I blame you because the podcast derailed today. So you're. I
love the eye, and I love the eyes, man. I love the eyes. Oh goodness, I love the eyes, and I love the A-List podcast, and I love our guest Duane Rankin from the Arizona Republic, brother. Thank you so much.
Always good to get some great insight from someone who covered the NBA Finals, even though the outcome wasn't in the favor of Phoenix. What was your biggest takeaway, Sherrod?
Well, I mean, the fact that, Duane, again, he went through the finals and there were lots of different things that players learned along the way. But for me, the thing that I take away is how DeAndre Ayton is all about details now. And the role that Chris Paul played in that. And obviously the shout out to my guy, Bobby Portis. Oh, goodness. Good stuff from Duane.
A gift needs to be made. So, Abu, Please send us that clip of Bobby Portis' eyes.
I love Bobby Portis. Do the side by side with me and Bobby Portis. I love that dude, man. I'm all about that Bobby Portis life. What about you, Kwani? What
that was my takeaway. You took it, Bobby Portis in the eyeballs. But honestly, we talk about the Bucks versus the Suns. I am really happy for Giannis for proving the haters wrong, and again having all of this burden of the expectation of greatness and finally being able to get to that stage despite not being in a big city. I'm proud of him. I don't know him, but I'm proud of him because I know it's taken a lot to get to this place. So for him to finally get what he's been looking for, shout out to Giannis, the Greek freak who is from Nigeria. Let us not forget he is Nigerian.
Wow. Yeah, that kind of gets lost in the conversation. Interesting how that happens. But that's another convation, another podcast. But yeah, Kwani, what do you have coming up for NBC? Coming up down the road.
Yes, so I mentioned this last week. Check out the Hub today. It launches on Monday, the 26th at 11:30 a.m. You can catch me with the Olympic updates and other stuff eventually along the lines on that show. It'll be live, so make sure you tune in and check me out. It's gonna be fun.
Nice. And I will be just doing off-season coverage for Bleacher Report as well as Boston Sports Journal and doing some Olympic coverage for ebony.com. I write a weekly column for them as well. And just, getting ready for Summer League. That'll be kicking off next month in August. And just
where we will have our live podcast. Check that out.
Look at Kwani. Throw that in there. Okay. Okay, Kwani, if you said, you said
Let's
you can
do
it.
I've been told to go to Summer League, so now I have an incentive to do. We can record live. Abu, where are you going to be? We got a producer too. We got to plan this out.
We gotta figure out his schedule because I know he's got a few more logs in the fire right now. Big baller, Abu
leaves us
exactly. Exactly. I remember when he was just a little young pipe. What? Yeah. Anyway, shout out to my 80-year-olds out there who keep it down.
It's almost past time.
Exactly. Remember to subscribe, like, and leave Kwani and myself the gift that always gives, and that is a 5-star review, all that good stuff, and keep the A-List podcast going strong as we will continue to keep on keeping on. So.
Yeah, if you haven't done so by now, you're just a hater. So don't be a hater and give us a review. It's
or else we're gonna have to give you the Bobby Portis. We're gonna have to. I love that dude. Damn, I love that dude. And I love them eyes, boy.
This has been the A-List podcast after dark. For Sherrod Blakely, I'm Kwani A-List.
We out. Maybe get some drinks while we out.
Don't cut that out either.
Oh, goodness.